The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartradio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love mysteries and it's fast-paced, you're going to love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and the ones you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by famous Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today, and check out the Mike Wagner Show t-shirts and other merchandise at amazon.com/the Mike Wagner Show. Also, you can also check out Mian Mohsen Zia's merchandise at amazon.com/Mian Mohsen Zia. We're here with a wonderful author who was raised in Fairbanks, Alaska, and Stockton, California, and grew up in a rough neighborhood, and he's got some great stories. And we talked earlier about Fairbanks and some fishing, and he launched his own publishing company, which is called Gatsby Knoll, and also studied archaeology at San Joaquin Delta College in Stockton. And he just has some amazing books. He also has World War III, Nationburg, and Gatsby, and also The War Between Angels and Gods. So it's Force in Heaven's War. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful California. Ladies and gentlemen, the very multi-talented author, Jonathan Gatsby. Jonathan, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you on board as well, too. So you're born in Fairbanks, Alaska, and you later moved to Stockton, California, and you grew up in a rough neighborhood, and you're going to say something?
Yeah, I was born in Stockton.
Oh, Stockton. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
According to release, it said Fairbanks, but I'm glad you clarified it.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Oh, that's okay. Well, anyway, you were born in Stockton and you're raised in Fairbanks, and you got some fish stories to tell too. And you grew up in a rough neighborhood, and you also launched your own publishing company, and you also got a few books out called "The Beast and the Four Demigods," World War III, Nationburg, Gatsby in the Execution Camp, also The War Between Angels and Gods, Forced into Heaven's War, and you study archaeology in Stockton. And before we get into all that, tell us how I first got started.
Okay, with the writing.
Basically just how you got started in general, like first in Stockton and your upbringing in Fairbanks.
Okay. Well, of course, I was born in Stockton. My dad was military. So I actually lived my first 2 years in Colorado Springs. Then we moved back to Fairbanks. And the funny thing about my birth too, I almost didn't make it. When they were driving out of Colorado, they got caught in a blizzard.
Ooh.
Yeah, they got caught in a blizzard, but they made it through. So lived in Stockton for a while. Like I said, grew up in a lot of rough neighborhoods. Anywhere you go, there's no such thing as like a perfectly good neighborhood. If you're in the upper class neighborhoods, you're kind of, this is from my experience. If you're in the upper class neighborhoods, your neighbors are the big time drug dealers, gangsters and stuff like that.
Interesting.
But if you're in the lower class, there's more activity. Everybody, you got the little guys that are out hustling and out, shooting and doing all the stuff in the streets and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like even right now, I'm back in Stockton right now from Alaska. The reason I was a professional boxer for a while, and I was training students. And I have a student that's ready to go pro, and he's been asking me to come back for a while. So I came back, and I'm like this whole time I'm trying to keep him out of trouble, just keep him focused on boxing. So much stuff going around. I'm like, we got neighbors shooting at each other and stuff like that, and I'm having to keep him from getting involved in that stuff. It's just Stockton is just that's just the way it is out here. There's no good neighborhoods because this really is a nicer neighborhood, but it's still a lot of gang activity, a lot of drugs being sold and stuff like that. And so growing up, I remember thinking a couple of times, like, I had to wonder, how people lived to get to 21, because how do you go every day, without getting shot once or without getting stabbed, because, you get in fights all the time. When I was 7 years old, I got into a fight with a boy about the same age as me over a basketball game.
Oh my.
And then his 18-year-old brother chased me with a knife and tried to stab me.
Ooh.
And I was running, and I got to, I knew I wasn't going to outrun him. So I got into a garage sale, and my dad was a pastor around the neighborhood. And I guess the guy knew my dad that I ran to the garage sale. So because I went under the table. He tried to get me. I went back under the table. He came around, and then what happened is the guy that had the garage sale pulled out a gun, and he pulled it on the guy. And he told him, and that's when I found out my dad. He was like, he said, "This is Pastor Dunham's son." He said, "I'm gonna tell you right now, you got 5 seconds to leave, or I'm gonna shoot you." And so the guy dropped his knife and then walked off slowly and got out of there. And then I went back to the church, stuff like that. And that was when I was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Second grade, had a knife put on me by a sixth grader at school. What else? So those two incidents there. It's constant fights. Schools getting shut down. School going on lockdown because you had people robbing the bank right across the street. And what they do to escape, they'd run through the school. Gang shootings, like I said, all over the place. So it was just, it was pretty crazy. And I was always in fights myself. The way things are, there's two different levels. I didn't learn until I got to Alaska that you don't have to fight, to prove yourself. So in California, in Stockton, the way it was when I was growing up, was, if people knew they could, they could beat you and punk you and stuff like that, they would. You would never get a break. And so, I made sure that nobody did that. I was fighting everybody all the time. I was beating people up. And I didn't start fights so much. Not until I got to Alaska, I started starting it a little bit. But most of the time it was just me keeping people off me. And then when we moved to Alaska, when I was 9 years old, it was a whole change of setting. It was completely different.
Mhm.
Up here, people talk a lot. Up there, people talk a lot of trash, but like when it came time to fight, they would always, back out of it.
Mhm.
And so, I was noticing difference. And like, to be honest with you, my friend Keith is the one that changed me. Probably when I was about 15, 16 years old. I never used to joke around. If somebody was bigger than me, I'd want to fight them naturally to prove to them that they couldn't beat me and stuff like that. And because that's the way I grew up, And then so Keith started, me and him became best friends, and we were both musicians. And he would start joking around me a lot. At first, I would get, upset a little bit, but, he kept on doing it because he didn't care. and so I realized, I'm either going to fight this guy or I'm going to have to learn how to joke. and so I started trying to learn how to joke. And then, I started getting funnier and funnier over the years. And now I'm hilarious to everybody except my daughter.
Sounds like you're the next up-and-coming comedian. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, she never laughs about the jokes. Everybody in the room would laugh, and she'd be like, "It's not funny, Dad." But
guess who's been around you the longest to know?
Yeah. But I had to teach her how to joke too, though. She was the same way I was, not joking around. And so I would say a joke, and she wouldn't, she wouldn't laugh. And me and my wife were divorced. I'm not gonna. It's nobody's fault. Two people just didn't work out.
Right. Exactly.
But we're both trying to raise my daughter, and she had a bigger field for a while. I was trying to chase money and chase dreams, because I knew my daughter wanted to go to college and stuff like that, and so I wanted to try to chase the money. The money was in Alaska, so I went back to Alaska to make money. But I realized, even though I was talking to my daughter every day, and I've talked to her every day. I'll buy her stuff she needs. It's not the same thing as being there in person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just took the first opportunity to come back, and I came back. And so I'm around my daughter every day again now. But like I said, I told you, it was a rough neighborhood growing up. I remember me and my brother ran away when I was same year, 7 years old.
Wow,
that seemed to be a bad year. My dad was no, that was 9 years old. 9 years old. That was the year we were leaving for Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 9 years old. My dad had just painted the house. He's planning on getting his deposit back because we're about to drive all the way to Alaska from California.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my brother were pretending to be Ninja Turtles. So we were doing flips, doing this stuff. And so I was like, watch this. And so I ran up the wall and did a backflip. And then my brother said, ooh. And I said, what? And I looked, and my footprints were on the wall in the paint.
Oh, cowabunga, dude. Now for some pizza. Or is it?
Yeah. And there was and it put a little bit of a hole in the wall. And I said, oh, I'm in trouble. My mom came in and saw that. She said, your dad's going to get you. And I said, no. And my mom said, no, he's not. I ain't going to be here. And so the only way I knew how to run away was stuff you see on cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a little stick and I tied a big cloth onto it with 4 corners, and I put stuff in the cloth. And then I put a backpack on, and I put some books in there that torn up books, but I was gonna sell the books to make food, to buy food.
Mm-hmm.
And so me and my brother escaped through the window, and we left, and we didn't run far. We ran down the street to Sports King. Now, mind you, this was a really big gang infested neighborhood, though.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Stockton off of Ponce de Leon. A lot of shootings happened over there, and so we ran away down the street to Sports King, and we're over there. And so immediately I started trying to sell books to people. I was selling them for $2.50 a piece. And these books had terrorism and everything.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that's probably really where my career as an author began, because I was already a book salesman.
Really?
And, yeah, and I sold every single one of them.
Oh wow. So that's how you
It was,
started becoming an author, by selling books like that?
yeah, 7 years old was a runaway.
Oh my gosh. And I was going to ask you, how'd you get started being an author? I guess you just answered my question.
Yeah, and I sold every single one of them. And for dinner, we had fruit by the foot. I bought a box of fruit by the foot. We had 2 bags of Doritos, and we had 2 sodas.
Wow.
And yeah, and I remember nighttime came, darkness fell, the store closed. The karate school was still open, which is in the same parking lot, but like to the left side. And so we were watching the karate school, and some guys came out, and then one of them asked us. They said, "What are you doing over here?" They said, "What are you guys doing over here out here by yourselves?" And I told them, because I didn't want to give them the impression that we were scared because of the neighborhood we were in. And so I, put my chest out and I said, "We ran away from home, and we're out on our own." And he said, "Oh," he said, "Okay." And one of the guys in the back said, "I like that guy. I like that kid." And so they told us, they said, "Look," they said, "tomorrow's gonna be a shootout over here. It's gonna be a gang shootout." They said, "Get these." They said, "You can't be here tomorrow." They said, "You can come after that, but tomorrow don't be here during this time." And so I said, "Okay." So we had planned on not being there the next night. And so we went to lay down on the bench, and we were sleeping. We fell asleep, and then these bright lights hit us, and I said, "Okay." I opened my eyes, and you get that bad feeling in the pit of your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
The bad feeling told me that's your dad. You're about to die.
Oh yeah.
I just knew it was our dad, and I was like, "Dang!" And I told my brother. I remember watching in Jurassic Park. You know how the dinosaur couldn't see you if you stayed still.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my brother, I said, "Hey," I said, "Man, don't move, and he won't see us." And then that was shattered quickly. He said, "Get in the car." So we hopped up, got in the car. I thought we were gonna get in trouble when we got home, get whooped or something. And I guess he was just so glad to get us back. He didn't whoop us. He even let me keep the fruit by the foot.
Here you go, son. Fruit by the foot. I still love you, no matter if you put a dent in my house.
Yeah. So that was the first one we ran away. We ran away in Alaska too. And he found. I don't even know how he was a person in the military that they sent to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably how he always found us. But like in Alaska, we weren't even nowhere near our house. We were far away, and we were going through neighborhoods. And out of nowhere, we see him driving by.
Oh my goodness!
And he jumped out of the car and came and got us. He always found us, no matter where we went. So,
oh my gosh, he probably got trained to do so as well too. And what was life like in Fairbanks for you? It's like you got out of the rough neighborhoods of Stockton, California, Fairbanks, Alaska, and you mentioned too that people talk trash, but then when you start saying "let's go at it," they actually back off. Unlike people in Stockton and say "bring it on." What else was life like in Fairbanks, Alaska? Like say with the schools and the people there, and just life in general for you?
Yeah, the schools are different up here. Way different up in Alaska. In California, they're outside, and like I said, a lot of fights happen and stuff like that. It's harder to do that at the schools in Alaska. I still managed to do it, but it was harder. The schools up there, they're inside. Everything's inside. And I'd never seen that before. And you went from one classroom to another classroom, and the kids, you got some kids that like to fight. Remember we had Tommy. He liked to fight. Some of the coffee kids, they like to fight. Who else? There were some kids that would fight, but for the most part, most of the kids didn't. Now there is a lot of racism up there, though. Mostly towards natives, and I find that just weird.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to Alaska. Mostly people to Alaska natives, but they hate natives for some reason. And it's just weird to me, but they had a lot of stuff like that. There's Reform KKK up there, all that stuff right now. They're actually meeting with the assembly right now, from what I heard, trying to organize a protest.
Mm-hmm.
So and just so everybody knows where I stand on that. every group has racism in a group. I've noticed, and I think as long as we keep bringing up race, it's never going to go away.
Right.
You can't say, and I'm very strongly against this. You can't say, we want black-owned businesses, we want black-owned this, because anybody can own anything right now.
Mm-hmm.
You might have a certain racist person that tries to stop you, but not a whole group, not the whole country. Anyone can start any business they want right now, and to specifically say like they did on that thing when they said, "Oh, only shop at black businesses," that's racism to me.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. Just like on the European side, European Americans, you got the Ku Klux Klans doing their marches, and all that stuff. And that stuff, that's racism. And to me, I think that if people are showing, because this is America, it's the land where everybody's at. They got tons of races here. If you're not comfortable living around other races, maybe you should go somewhere where it's just your race.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Right.
I say it to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But up there was a lot of racism, so I had a lot of fights against the supremacists up there. I got arrested against John Lynch. He was attacking people, with weapons and stuff like that. And he threatened to shoot me, and so I kind of used a knife on him. He threatened to shoot me, so I pulled a knife out and I went to stab him, and my friend caught my arm, so it only went partway in. And today I wouldn't have done that. Today I walk away from everything. But then I was a hothead,
Mm-hmm.
and so I did that. I was locked up, and it's actually pretty funny how I got out. I was raised Christian and stuff like that, but I wasn't praying or nothing at the time. I was in my cell doing push-ups, and stuff like that, and trying to intimidate my cellmate. And I remember I started seeing a lot of my friends make the paper for sports, and I was good at sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's when it occurred to me, like, you're wasting time being locked up when you could be out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started reading again. I picked up the Harry Potter books, and this is when I was 17. I started picked up the Harry Potter books, and I started reading them. And I liked them, but I read all the books they had in there. They only had 4 books in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I read all the books, the Harry Potter books, and so I was like, dang, it's over. So I said, well, I'm gonna start writing. I want to write. And so I decided to start writing. So I asked the guard for paper, and he gave me a paper and a pencil, and I started writing. And then where was I going with this?
Okay, the guard gave you a pencil and paper to write, and then you start writing, and then and then you can continue.
Okay. Yeah, and so that's kind of where I started writing at there. 2 teachers in the 5th grade, Miss Nolan and Miss Dolan, are the ones that Miss Norton, not Miss Nolan, Miss Norton and Miss Dolan are the ones that got me interested in reading. They got me reading a lot of books. Miss Norton introduced me to Sign of the Beaver, Time Enough for Drums, Johnny Tremaine, which is my favorite book of all time. Witch of Blackbird Pond, which is my second favorite book. To all those kind of books, and I've always wanted to write those kind of books. And then Mr. Smith in 8th grade got me interested in history. So of course, historical fiction. I love historical fiction. And so from there, I started writing from there. And I got out. The way I got out was, I remember it was the night before I had court. I had already admitted everything. I told the judge I did it, and I admitted everything already. And they kept taking me back to court. And, instead of giving me a sentence, they just kept taking me back to court.
Huh.
And so the night before, I decided I wanted to get out. I decided, I'm done with this place. I want to get out. I want to play sports. I want to have a good time. And so finally I got down and I prayed and I asked God to get me out. And the next day, I don't even know what came over me because I'd never done that before. The judge started talking, and I stood up and I interrupted him.
Oh.
And the judge said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I got something I want to say." And the judge said, "No." The judge said, "No, sit down." I said, "No." I said, "I'm gonna say what I got to say." And the judge said, "Excuse me." I said, "Look, Your Honor." I said, "I already admitted everything." I said I did it. I said, "Right now you're wasting my time and wasting your time." I said, "Either give me my sentence or shut up and let me go." And yeah,
Anybody listening out there, you can use that.
yeah. The judge looked at me like I had lost my mind. He said, "You look like that," and I didn't know my dad was on the phone.
Oh my!
My dad had called in, and he was the only person I was scared of. I wasn't scared of nobody else. I was fighting the correction officers, and you can ask Mr. Green. Mr. Green's the only officer I liked. Him and Mr. Harris were the officers that I liked inside of the correctional facility.
Mm-hmm.
But I was on zero status every week because I was always fighting the correction officers.
Oh my!
I wasn't scared of anybody, but I was scared of my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so my dad, I hear my dad's voice on the intercom. He goes, "Your Honor, can I say something?" And this is exactly what the judge said. The judge said, "Yeah, you might want it because I'm about to lock him up under the jail and throw away the key." And my dad said, "Okay." He said, "Johnny, can you hear me?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said it again. He said, "Johnny," but he said it deeper, like more harsh. He's like, "Johnny, can you hear me?" And I kind of like leaned back a little bit. I was like, "Yeah, Dad." He said, then he went deeper. He said, "Johnny, can you hear me?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Sit down and shut up." I leaned back in my seat and went down. And the judge, this is exactly what the judge did. The judge said, "Is that all it took? You're going to your dad."
Oh my goodness, what a story.
And so I was sent to my dad in California. And,
wow. And of course, we'll also talk about some of your books as well, too. And you got a great start on being an author. We'll talk about how you became an author. We'll talk about your books. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Mosinzia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mosinzia. Available on Amazon, paperback, and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and the ones you love be the first to go missing. It's available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mia Mosinzia has garnered great reviews and even loved by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Mosinzia, available on Amazon. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And check out the Mike Wagner Show merchandise on Amazon.com/the Mike Wagner Show and also on Mia Mosinzia/Amazon for more merchandise. We're here with author and book publisher Jonathan Gatsby in the Mike Wagner Show with his new book, The Beast and the 4 Demigods. Well, let's talk about your first 2, World War III, Nationburg, Gatsby and the Execution Camp, as well as the war between angels and gods, forced into heaven's war. And before we get to those 2 books, you mentioned some of your favorite authors and, your books. And how about some of your favorite authors and how you got started, being an author, besides go around selling books so you can get your fruit roll-ups and your chips, your drinks, and everything else?
Well, I'd have to say some of my favorite authors are obviously Rick Riordan, J.K. Rowling, John Grisham, Anne Rinaldi, and I never can remember without looking at it the author of Johnny Tremaine, but she is definitely one of my favorite authors, if not just for that book. Elizabeth Warren, those are definitely some of my favorite authors, and there's more that I just haven't mentioned. But they wrote great books, great plots, based on stuff that was actually happening. Why I dove right into fantasy fiction, I don't know, but historical fiction is actually my favorite. But fantasy fiction, I love as well. And maybe because I started writing after reading Harry Potter, that I dove straight into fantasy fiction. But I'm writing a historical fiction right now based around Andrew Jackson when he was young as a kid, going through the Revolutionary War.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to be historical fiction, so based on some truth, but the events around it are going to be made up. So there's that. And then as far as the books, the World War III book, that originally, and there's some people that have the original copy. That was originally called World War III: Fall of the United States. And it was pretty deep, pretty gory, stuff like that. A lot of people loved it. And the funny thing is, some of the events that actually were written in the book actually happened after I wrote it. Wow,
like what?
One, the girl that the main character was based on, in the book, she was engaged to be married in 2017. And I wrote the book like when I was 17, 18 years old. So I was long before 2017.
Oh, wow.
It was like 2002, 2000. And she was engaged to be married in 2017. And the president, actually, he 100% matched to Trump, like going outside of media. I had him using MySpace originally, but I switched it to Twitter once I saw the more modern stuff. And then I switched it to Facebook and Twitter. Then I think I put it back to Twitter in this last one. So I published it in 2016 through Revival Waves. I was under the impression that they were a traditional publisher. That's the way they made themselves sound. And you got a lot of vanity publishers doing that nowadays. They're coming off, putting themselves off as a traditional publisher, and they're not. Now, the difference between a vanity publisher and a traditional publisher is a vanity publisher will offer you traditional publishing too, but it stops after a certain point. So what they'll do, they'll pay for a cheap cover artist to make a cheap cover, like a $50 cover. This artist is not drawing it or nothing. What they'll do to take 2 pictures off of a free photo site, and they'll put them together, stuff like that, and then add words, and stuff like that. $50, it's not much. Poor cover, very poor cover in most cases. Then they got other people that they know, they're friends with or whatever, and they'll pay them $100 or something like that to edit the book. It always winds up being a very poor editing job. It's not professional. They might catch a few commas, punctuations here and there, but when you get the book back, it looks like it hasn't been edited in most cases, as was in the case I had. And so the biggest thing you'll notice though with a vanity publisher is that after the book is published, it only costs $49 to publish it. They trick people and make it sound like they're like, oh, you'll be published in 266 countries, this and that, like they're big time. If you publish through Ingham Spark, it's automatically going to be published in 266 countries. And so that's nothing big. Anybody can do that. Right. But what separates them is that after they publish it and they pay $49 to publish it, it's not a lot. You're gonna if they're not doing any promotion of your book.
So that's a big difference between the vanity and the traditional, is that the vanity doesn't do any PR work afterwards, and the traditional does PR work for you, like press releases. They put you on book tours. They have you like at Barnes and Noble and other places where you sign and greet and take pictures and everything. And they put you on interviews, press releases, and everything else. So
exactly.
Okay. So it's just to make the difference clear that traditional publishing, has always stuck to its roots instead of vanity. But then you also took the self-publishing route, and just tell us why you took the self-publishing route and what separates self-publishing from traditional publishing.
It's not a big difference. I mean, what I did though is instead of just doing self-publishing, because any author can self-publish. What I did, I actually started a whole publishing company. And I don't want to label myself self-publishing. I don't want to label it vanity either. But I'm also not going to label myself traditional because I'm not taking anybody on yet.
Right.
What I was doing, I was starting with myself so I can learn the business, so I can do it correctly for other people. Like with Revival Waves, after I found out they were a vanity press, I asked to be released from the contract. And because I was able to make a better cover myself, and I'm not a cover artist, so how do I make a better cover than you do for the book? And so, I wanted to find out, what everything that I needed for other authors when I start taking them on. The biggest thing is money, which I don't have that right now. If I'd have kept my job, I would have had it, but a student down here needed me. He wanted to go pro in boxing. I'm trying to live my dream. So why would I stop? Why would I stop from living his dream? And so he tried other gyms. My students tend to beat other gyms pretty easy. I came up with different stuff in boxing by watching my training in many different styles of martial arts and other stuff. So I have moves that can disable your opponents and stuff like that. And so a lot of people that I've trained, like I had a gym in Washington, gym in Alaska, gym in California. If I leave to go one of other places, they'll go try out other gyms. And then they'll always wind up calling me back, asking me to come back and train them because they're going over there and beating those guys easy. And they don't feel like they're learning anything. And so he asked me to come down here and train. He's been asking for months. And I had a good job in Alaska that was paying me a lot of money. And I could have paid for stuff easy. But I let the job go for one, to come back and train him. And two, I saw it as an opportunity to get back to my daughter. So I took it. But the biggest thing that I noticed is that the reason I'm not taking nobody on yet, I can pay for their publishing. That's easy. I have a cover artist, and I have two actually cover artists that are very good. They're probably two of the best that I've ever seen. They draw it, and it looks very good. I have a video person, animated person that animates it into a video. I have probably the best editor that I've ever seen. I've dealt with a lot of editors. Never with an editor like her. The only thing is she gets sick a little bit, so sometimes they disappear. But her work is worth it. It's worth falling behind a little bit.
And it sounds like you put a lot of time into your first book, World War III, Nationburg, Gatsby in the Execution Camp, and also your second book. You managed to go further, like the War Between Angels and Gods, Force in the Heavens War. And tell us all about the second book.
Okay, the second book, but that book, it started off, I always thought it'd be awesome for Hercules to fight Zeus. And so it started off like that. That was the original thing. And I actually wrote the book around that. And the person that wrote the TV show Golden Girls, they came up to Delta College, and she was doing a competition. So I kind of wrote a thing around it, and I showed it to her, and a synopsis of it. And I showed it to her. And the competition, I didn't win the competition. And then, so I just kind of finished the story anyway, like finished writing it. It was 20 pages. The first time writing the book. So, so it was 20 pages. And then I took it to a professor there, an English professor, and I asked for their opinion. They read it. And then when I came back, this professor is a good person, but very honest. And it was like, one of those English mean people.
Cross your T's, dot your I's, and make sure your commas are in the right place, the apostrophe is in the right place, and make sure your quotation marks are in the right place, and watch your punctuation, spelling. I know those type.
Yeah, they weren't even that nice.
Oh my goodness.
When I came back all excited, asking them, what'd you think about it? Looked at me and said, this is crap. I said, huh? And then she told me, she said, look, she said, this is crap. It's action. It's all action, 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 action. She said, there's no dialogue. There's no, talking parts, there's no leading up scenes, nothing. It's just action, action, action. Goes from one scene to the other. And she said, if this was a graphic novel, it might go. It might be able to tell it. She said, so you have two choices. She said, you can either throw it away and start over, or you can take the lazy way out and turn it into a graphic novel.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I thought about it, and I was like, no, I want to be a book writer, and I said I want to be the best. So, but she also gave me a book too, a graphic novel book. It was what book was it? What's that? What is that book called? Romeo and Juliet.
Yes, Romeo and Juliet. That's it. That's a classic one.
Yeah, and I never liked the book. Because they make you read that in English class. So anything you read in school, I didn't like. And I like them now. I like, like that book now. I like How to Kill a Mockingbird, Gatsby. I love those books now, but at the time in school, I didn't like them because they made you read them. But she gave me that graphic novel, and even during the time me not liking those books, I liked that graphic novel. That graphic novel was wonderful. But I decided I still wanted to be an author of a book, and so I tossed what I had and restarted from scratch. And basically, what the book was, again, I figured I was gonna make it Hercules versus Zeus, but then I started going to missionary school, to Christian college. I went to Conroe, and then I used to stop in at Golden Gate all the time in San Francisco, by Marin County. And when I was doing that, as I was studying more and more, I started noticing things in the Bible I never noticed before. One Revelations chapter 9 verse 11 says, "And the angel of the bottomless pit, his name's Abaddon." It said he's the king of locusts, but they said, but he's known in Greece as Apollyon. And I said, let me check on that. So I went into Greek mythology, and I was checking all the names that Apollo went by. And Apollyon's one of the names he went by. I said, well, let me check the definition, see if it even matches, because maybe it's still different. And then same definition at the end. Apollo's known for music. He's known for shooting arrows. He's known for he's also known as a destroyer, but he's known to destroy with locust.
Oh, yes.
And I said, okay, wait a minute. And so I went back to Abaddon, because I know he used locust. And I said, well, what else is he known for? And he's known as a destroyer in Hebrew. And I said, oh, so the exact same definition. And then I noticed in the Bible, in Job, it mentions Orion, the mighty hunter, the giant, which everyone knows is famous from Greek mythology. Then it talks about Leviathan, the great dragon. Talks about, other things. But then, like, one thing caught my attention. I came across a verse. It said, "Ye worship the angels and know it not." I was like, interesting. What angels are people worshiping? That is saying they're worshiping. So I, went to delve further into it. Went to Genesis chapter 6, and it says, "And when the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were fair, they took wives and they had children by them. And it said their children would be mighty men that would always be known forever." And I said, this kind of sounds like Hercules, Achilles, names that are known from a long time ago. And I said, this all could tie in. I said, but let me see if there's any characters from the Bible in other religions. So I looked up Satan, and I couldn't find anything. But then I said, wait a minute. His name in the Old Testament was Lucifer, not Satan.
Yeah, so Lucifer was the prettiest, the most handsome, the most talented, and then he got really prideful, and that's how he became Satan too. And how about the Quran? It's like, what characters did you find in the Quran?
You said in the Quran. Well, the Quran and the Bible are still are almost the same, except for the Quran has a couple extra chapters in the Old Testament, but the Quran is pretty much the Old Testament of the Bible. Moses' teachings, and all that stuff. They have the book of Maccabees too, and a few other books. So it's, same characters in there. But Christianities, they have the New Testament after Jesus came. So that's really the difference in the religions is Jesus.
And then too, you talk about with all the various books and everything else, and how'd you get interested in Greek mythology?
I've always been interested in that. Hercules, Zeus, Achilles. I always loved that stuff. Anything with power, I liked. And so, I started reading up on it, Greek mythology, and maybe to tell you the truth, even though I always thought it was interesting, I never really delved into it. But Rick Riordan kind of brought it out, and with the Percy Jackson series. I don't like all of his books, but I like the Percy Jackson series, Heroes of Olympus and stuff. And it was very interesting to me. So I started studying up on it. And, like I said, I found a lot of stuff. Lucifer in Greek mythology, his name is Phorcys. Also, his definition in Hebrew is the morning star. His definition in Greek mythology is the morning star. In Greek mythology, he's the son of two titans, Astrios and Eos. And so it's very interesting stuff. And so I said, if you're using what I've found so far, because none of the Greek gods that people know ever said they were the beginning creator. Zeus had a father. Odin had a father. All of them had fathers. Going back, even Ra. Ra talks about having a father. Egyptian. And so, so what I did, I said, okay, perfect. So what I did, I tied all of the deities on earth as the fallen angels that fought against God in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So Zeus, of course, wouldn't have been involved in that. Neither would Thor, because they're descendants of those titans.
Mm-hmm.
But like Odin, Ra, Oceanus, Uranus, all those would have been the originals that fought against God in the beginning. So they got cast down to earth. Upon getting cast down to earth, they're not getting along, and so they split into different sects, and they're posing as gods over wherever they're at. And then so over time, stuff happens. The Greek sect winds up getting arrested by Michael and them and taken down and put in prison, awaiting their sentence, which is going to be the lake of fire for their war in heaven. And so in Odin's group, they stopped coming to Earth because of Ragnarok. They got destroyed, but when the angel gets destroyed, they don't die; they reform. So they're reforming over this whole time, over the centuries. And then Ra and them just kind of disappeared and kept to themselves. And so what's happening is it's getting down to the end. They're getting ready to face the lake of fire. So Lucifer bargains a deal with God, and he says, if we know we can't beat you in a war, but if we can win 1 out of 7 tournaments without you foreseeing the event, seeing what's going to happen ahead of time, if we can win 1 out of 7 tournaments, we can escape the lake of fire and regain dominion over the earth. And so the creator agrees. And so that's what these books are based around. Is now they're based around the 7 tournaments that are happening. So,
and is this leading up to the Beast and the 4 Demigods, as you were talking about with the 1 of 7 tournaments?
That's the first tournament.
That is okay, amazing. I was just thinking about Ra disappearing. Ra must have been a cheerleader. Go rah rah rah, like that. So.
Yeah, no, Ra's an Egyptian god. He's the head Egyptian god.
Yeah, he's like rah rah, like that. So, all right, we'll talk about the Beast and the 4 Demigods, the Wars Between Angels and Gods, book 1 with author Jonathan Gatsby in just a minute. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Also brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Mosinzia of the book Missing, available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. We'll be back with author Jonathan Gatsby in 1 minute after this timeout.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and more. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, where The Mike Wagner Show interviews great guests, cool conversation, lots of laughs, coffee, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio. courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We're back with Jonathan Gatsby, author and book publisher here on the Mike Wagner Show. His books, The World War III, Nationburg, Gatsby and the Execution Camp. Also talked about the wars between the angels and gods, Force and the Heavens War. And what we're talking about with the tournament, we talked about having all the gods coming together. This leads to the Beast and the Four Demigods, the war between angels and gods, book 1. And let's tell us more about the book as well in detail.
Okay, the first book, what happens is so as I just detailed, the tournaments are starting. So there's 4 demigods. There's actually way more than that on the earth, but all of them have their powers constricted, and none of them know that they're demigods.
Mm-hmm.
And so these four teens that are on the south side of Chicago, one lives in the suburb, 2 lives in the suburb, 1 is homeless, and one lives in the ghetto. And they all 4 go to the same school. They know each other. John and Marcus are friends. They both like Jasmine. And then Ho Young's the homeless teen that goes to the school. It's kind of awkward guy. Things he does is funny, but it's weird at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is these 4 they find out they're demigods, and so through the tournaments they're having to learn how to use their powers because they never knew they were demigods.
Uh-huh.
They have to learn how to use their powers to defeat the 4 beasts that were picked by Zeus, and Odin hadn't reformed yet, not until the second book. In the second book, he reforms. So at this time, it's just Zeus and Lucifer, and not just Zeus, but the Greek gods and Lucifer. And so the 4 beasts they picked were Chiron, the Centaur, which is Cronus' son. It was Fenrir, the great werewolf, but they couldn't revive him because he had died. So they had to bring his soul and put it in another body. So he's put into a 15-foot giant. Leviathan, which they had to wait for because he was still in prison for Ragnarok. He was involved in that. And also Arachne. And so those are the 4 beasts they picked for the first tournament. And so these demigods, it's being fought throughout the United States. It's not fought in one spot. It's just as they meet. It's just as they meet. They have to fight. And whoever wins. Whoever loses dies. So, but the Greek gods really want to win this tournament. Lucifer, and that's the other thing they're fighting up there too, because Zeus and them had never really met Lucifer. They heard about him. But see, Lucifer was cast to the bottomless pit before Cronus had Zeus and all them born.
Mm-hmm.
So Lucifer wasn't there when he came about. So they knew who he was. There was a prophecy that had said that the war would happen, that Lucifer would have to lead, and so Zeus not being comfortable, not being the head, there's some fighting going on between the two, and then also. Just as a little extra, every Greek god has a giant, that's designed to beat them. 2 of the giants were brought back, to fight against Zeus and some of the other gods. And so, it's they're fighting up there with each other while the demigods are fighting their beasts, and so, and it's and I'm not gonna tell you who. But in this book, it's possible some of the demigods might have died.
Mm-hmm. Right. And of course, you don't know which demigod would survive, or who would come in as well too. And also, we don't want to give away all the book. And where can we find the Beast and 4 Demigods, World War III, and the Wars Between Angels and Gods? Where can we find your books at?
The last one, the series is called Wars Between Angels and God. The second book is called Force in the Heavens. But you can find them anywhere pretty much. You can find it on Amazon. I prefer Amazon and Barnes & Noble, but I can track sales on there. A lot of these other companies are just picking them up and reselling them, even though they're not supposed to do that. But they're reselling. I'm not getting paid for that. So
right, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And also, where can people find your publishing company at?
They can contact me directly. I've kind of made it private a little bit. Mostly, like I said, I'm still figuring everything out. Right, the part that I'm on now is learning how to. I know how to sell in person. I know how to set up book signings, but right now I'm having to learn how to readjust because now it's all internet. Because of the pandemic. So I'm having to learn the internet route.
Right.
So I'm learning that right now. So once I finish learning that, how to set up everything like that, like I figured out how to set up podcasts. I've been setting those up left and right. I think I've done almost 6-7 this month. So I got that down, but I want to get them into book clubs. I want to get them into book signings because that's where you're going to sell your book at. And so that's the biggest thing, and then marketing, got to market over the internet. And you got to put it in a way that people want to buy it. If you got to, whatever you put out, it's got to be a way of attracting people. There's one thing I don't like right now is like you got a lot of YouTubers that have zero talent. They just shake their booty, or dress half naked or do pranks.
That's too much for a graphic novel, to be honest with you. That's like one big graphic novel.
That's not for novels. What I'm talking about is as far as having to actually have a skill, to make into professional business nowadays. Like boxing. I'm in boxing. That's changing. You got YouTubers that are able, to generate, $50 million fights, and they can't even fight. Like that Jake Paul guy. I want to put this out there. That Jake Paul guy sucks. I got a student that's been boxing for 2 weeks that can beat him. No talent. He's 0-1-1. Trying to challenge UFC fighters and stuff like that. Just real disrespectful. They're getting all these followers on YouTube, and they're not doing anything. There's no talent involved. The world kind of evolved around into it's not about how good something is. It's about just 2 seconds of entertainment, and so you got to sell them on 2 seconds of entertainment to get them. So I learned from that though. The way it is now, you got to sell them on that 5 seconds of entertainment to make them want to buy the book. Which is why I went into animation to start animating my videos. The book sales went up quite a bit. Before I was just putting, a picture of the book, put the link, and I put some description about it, and it wasn't selling as good. In person, I can talk to them and I can sell it all day. But on the internet, people don't like to read long stuff. And if it's too short, they're not going to, be interested enough to buy it. But it's funny what a video can do. Just with some leaves flying and wind and some thunder and lightning, all of a sudden they're buying the book without any words other than the link to where to buy it.
Right. And exactly it too. And we're here with the author Jonathan Gatsby of The Beast and the 4 Demigods on the Mike Wagner Show. Love to have you back on. A very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot from you and sharing experience with you. And what can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond, Jonathan?
I'll be releasing the 3rd book for the wars and the Wars Between Angels and Gods series. I'll be releasing the 3rd book, which is called The Quest for the Forbidden Books. I'll be releasing World War III, the Nationburg one again next month. I pulled it from the market a couple months ago. I wanted to re-edit it by my new editor because she's really good. So that's going to be put back out within the next month. And then also you can expect that the historical fiction one to be finished as well.
Okay. We're certainly looking forward to that. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career, Jonathan?
Biggest influence on my career, I'm gonna say Michael Jordan, because with him, and I know that's not books, but with him, it's writing books is a good part, but I can do that and just not publish anything, with him, everything had to be perfect. You had to suffer, you had to sacrifice. And you had to be the best. You couldn't just be like, it's okay. I'll just leave it at that. And that's the way I am. With motivation, it's got to be the best. I got to put it out. I'm not just in this to sell 2 or 3 books. I want to sell billions of books. I want to make sure. But no, I take that back. My daughter is because everything I do is for her, and the reason that I've been pushing so hard and never quitting at this is because, like I said, I know she wants to go to Harvard, big schools and stuff like that. And, money talks. So, if she gets into there by her academics, which she's the top of her class every year. If she gets in there by academics, she won't be able to go because, it costs money to go.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I want to make sure that I have that.
Mm-hmm. And that's very important as well, too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
The best advice is to never give up. Things are going to happen. There's one rule that I learned life expects everybody. You have to sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice something you love, before you can excel. You're going to, changes are going to happen. You're going to, whatever it is, time, money, whatever it is, you're going to have to sacrifice something to excel. You're going to come across stumbling blocks. There's going to be people that don't want you to go any further, and they're going to hold you back. Mm-hmm. You have to find ways around it. But no matter what happens, whether you got to crawl through mud, climb a mountain, jump off a ridge, whatever you have to do, don't quit and keep going, because eventually you're going to find your break, because you can only be told no by life so many times.
Mm-hmm. And that's very important as well, too. Once again, author Jonathan Gatsby of the book, The Beast and the Four Demigods on the Mike Wagner Show. Jonathan, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And once again, tell us about upcoming projects, what's your website, how do people contact you, where can people purchase or check out your books at?
Okay. Are you able to post links on the video when it comes out?
Yeah, yes, we do. And like I said, it'd be on over 30 podcast platforms. And from your end, just tell us about your upcoming projects, what's your website, how do people contact you, and where can people purchase or check out your books at?
Okay. So what I'll do is you can, like I said, you can find it on Barnes and Nobles or Amazon. I'll send you some links to where you can get them, so you can see the exact links. And a website. I kind of took the website down. I got a Facebook website instead, and that's Jonathan Gatsby Books. Author Jonathan Gatsby Books. So that's on Facebook, and I don't get on social media on Instagram much, but I do have an Instagram page, also called Author Jonathan Gatsby.
Okay. All right. That sounds very good. Once again, Jonathan, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor. Keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And don't forget to keep in touch. You've been absolutely amazing. I love hearing your stories and inspiration.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.